middle of the window. Best spot in the house.
Yay, I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you very much for joining us.
Taking pictures.
Yeah.
Alright, so basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to talk to these talented people up here about their experience in the different movies that they've been in, but more currently to the one that they've all been together and helped out with in the Friday the 13th movies. We have all kinds of different things, so if you guys have any questions, just raise your hand and then I'll come down there and you can ask the question directly. And if you don't have any questions, don't worry. I like to talk a lot and I have plenty in my head. Alright, can we start that? Raise your hand if you have any questions. I mean, come on. You all, I know some of you have sat here for a very long time because you wanted to meet these people. And here they are. Don't be shy now.
Alright. Okay, here we go. Our first question. What's your name? Shauna. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, you guys. You know, you guys are my favorite actors. If I were hunting for the part 6. So, my favorite part is this guy right there in the middle. He's
That would
so
be me.
cool.
I'm the only one in the middle.
He's
Good choice,
so
man.
cool. So, my favorite part, when he chasing those army men down in the road with glasses and stuff, that is amazing. So how you so fast in that movie? Part 6 of Jason, yeah.
Oh, it's like.
How are you so fast?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Scotty beam me up. You know, Scotty beams me up, beams me back. So I just appear quickly. I don't run, but I'm very quick on my feet. I can dance too.
Alright, so this is a question for everybody one at a time here, right? Because you guys we're all in different movies today, but so you guys are together. Why is this everybody so much? Alright, so the question that I have, no, I'm not asking. So the question that I have for each and every one of you, you know, when it got to be the time where you were either killed or if you were killing somebody, you know, what was the time period where, you know, how long did it take to get the makeup on? Was it like overshoot, so there was like something was running and you were like, oh, I did that wrong, I might do it again. You know, what was your favorite plot?
I heard what was our favorite part about getting ready for our
Kill scene.
for the kill scenes. Well, I can answer that. We had some amazing visual effects makeup artists working on me for hours. 3 people. I had like no clothes on, covering me in layers and layers of skin at different degrees of being rotisserie. Because the original idea, I was in the latest one of this film, and the original idea is that I'd be rotisserie and Amanda Rigetti would come and try to save me and just would pull layers of skin off. And they were so effective in doing it. The producers were very apologetic because of how much time it took to prep and to get out of that prosthetic. That it didn't make the final cut because test audiences were really losing their lunch watching it. It was just a bit too far for a studio film. But man, I really wish I could see some of the outtakes that didn't make it because it was very, very, very cool. It was uncomfortable getting it on and off though because it's a lack of privacy. Very, very intimate experience with lots of people naked in a shower. Yeah, it's worth it.
You didn't do all that naked shit with me.
No.
I'm going to her movie. You with Gary?
You want to go next?
No, I don't have an answer.
Okay.
I kill people. I kill people. I'm not a victim. I'm a killer.
Yes, you can talk about all the ones.
Yeah, I'm not a victim. I'm a killer. So for me, it's like, get the F out of the way. I'll kill you. So I'm gonna let the victim speak to the question.
Oh,
To be
how
fair,
kind of you.
right?
So kind.
Ladies first.
When CJ and I were doing Jason Lives, we spent
and they literally had like panels that they would take off of the camera, so they had every angle, including the camera up above us. So didn't take long to get ready because I didn't have any makeup or anything, and he just took my head, pushes it into the mirror, and I just completely trusted him and went for it. We did a lot of fighting, and the next day I woke up with all these bruises, and I wore them like badges of honor.
I'm a makeup artist and a monster maker, so I'm on the other side of what the actors go through, but I'm usually the person that's putting the actors through the torture like what you described. In Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, there was never another Friday the 13th made after that one, to my knowledge. I'm joking. But I had to kill Judy Aronson. Do you guys know Judy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So that was like way back in the day in Topanga Canyon, and there was a lake, and it was like 2 in the morning, and she was in this raft, naked, wearing a fake body that I had made, and I'm in a wetsuit in the water, and the water, it's California, but it was freezing, and I'm, supposed to be comfortable. I couldn't handle it. And Judy is like singing, and like, how are you doing this? And it was hours and hours that she was in that rig. And now I see that she uses that for photo ops, where she's got the raft, and you can get a picture there. It'll be very clever. Anyway, that was one of my early experiences in dealing with how much you actors go through to put this stuff on the screen.
Alright, that was good. Thank you guys. Now, are there playing with Jason Voorhees over here? So you can call you Jason Voorhees, is that right? So, the one thing that I really like about you is you're the one that brought the movie and the life of Jason to life. Everything with the actual movement and the way that he moves all over the place, and it became an iconic scene the way that it was. Now, how was that inspired by you to actually make the character move like that? What inspired you to do that?
Well, for me, I was very fortunate. I'd only been out of the military a short period of time, so I still had an attitude. I walk with an attitude. I'm 6'3", 250, so 30 inches all around as you walk. Tom McLaughlin, the writer-director, allowed me to be a little promiscuous with that concept. He wanted a Jason that wasn't dead, like Walking Dead, but still wanted a Jason that was connecting the dots. Mentally, as you walked and went through the process, it became better and better what you did, your craft of killing people. So for me, I was real fortunate. Unfortunately, I am kind of big. I'm abnormal, so it demands a certain attitude when you walk in. It's just natural. But if I hadn't had the size of the character already natural, I would have probably had to work on it a little bit. But I was very fortunate. I'm very relaxed, subdued type of person in reality. But when you play Jason, the first thing you do when you put that mask on is you turn a switch. When that switch is flipped, it's my time. So I really enjoyed it. I had fun.
I'll let somebody down there. If you guys have a question, raise your hand nice and high. If not, I'm going to keep talking. Oh, the DJ has me.
Hi, Jason. CJ,
Hi.
can you tell us, I think it's because I'm down here in the pit.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like when you got called by your agent to play the iconic character of Jason Voorhees? Was there other people that were up for the role? How excited were you when you found out you got to play this horror icon? Sorry.
Did anybody hear what he said? Because I didn't hear shit but a bunch of noise. So, just so everybody understands, Jason, 3 decades ago, and the people in the audience, I'm going to ask you to do us a favor. How many of you are 36 years old or younger in the audience? Raise your hands. So all of you I've seen wear a diaper since this movie came out. Think about that. The role wasn't as iconic as it is today, to be fair. It was just a B-movie horror. The iconic has really come in the last 2 decades as a result of you, the next generation that's come through. A lot of people will talk about they have great times watching it with their mom, their dad, their parent. But at the same time, it was not as iconic as it's become today. It was just a B-movie. And to be fair, I was the second choice, not the first. So sometimes being the second is not bad. That doesn't mean you lost. That just means you'll get it next time. The paintball scene where you see the paintballs hit the belly, most people just assume I'm thicker or wearing padding. It's a different gentleman who originally got cast before me. He was just a little thicker than I, going back to my structure of walking. So I got the call on Thursday when they got the dailies that they weren't going to accept that look. They didn't reshoot that one, and on Tuesday I was in Covington, Georgia, picking up the role, and they kept that one role just because it was a day shot.
Now, let me ask you guys this. Everybody's always asking about, what's going on in the movies and everything that, your favorite part of the movie, this and that. I want to know something, a story that stands out that you really enjoy, that goes behind the scenes, if you don't mind sharing something with somebody.
When you're cast in a film and you get to go away on location, it's like going to camp. You get to really hang out with the other actors and the people behind the scenes and spend quality time with them, and you become a family. So it's a really special time when you're making a movie, just to have that collaboration with all these, and everybody has the same goal in mind, just to make the best film you possibly can.
It's nice to hear that it was like camp for you. It wasn't like that for me, but it was like that for the rest of the cast. I was just on another film, and I was the last person to be added. And when one of my friends was actually in the cast, called me when I was finishing up this other really difficult film in the desert and exhausted, and said, "You're going to get a call to be, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but you're going to get a call, and you should do it, and you should come out to Austin because we're having the best time. It's camp, and we're all going down the river, and we've got a boat, and everybody's so cool, and you have so much fun." And I was like, I can't do another movie. I got to go home. I got to sleep. I got to recover, because it was like a really physical movie. I had scars everywhere. And they said, and he said, no, you don't understand. This is the best. And we're staying at the Four Seasons. And I said, oh. And I was like in a really crappy motel at the time. And I said, I want to go to the Four Seasons. That sounds. I didn't even know what the film was yet, because everything was, secret. And then so they worked it out with the producers of the film I was on, and then I found out what it was. But I was so tired. They put me on a plane. We went to Austin, Texas, and we drove right by the Four Seasons, and we went to set, and they were losing the location, and they had to shoot me doing all my stuff like in a compressed period of time. And they just threw me in, and they dyed my hair, and they threw me in some clothes, and they just threw me out there, and I didn't know what happened. Like, I remember at some point just being absolutely terrified. Like, I think I was just terrified and tired. I didn't even have to act. And then it was later, it wasn't until, I barely even got to know anybody. It wasn't even until, like, I think the premiere when I started getting to know them. But then when I realized what we had just made, and then subsequently, though, we really became a good friend group and a family, and it's now been years and years, and they're some of my dearest friends. So it's just interesting because it was kind of backwards. Like, I just really missed out on the camp part.
The fun part.
The fun part.
I can give you a quick story that relates to, hardship. And again, this is appreciating the actors, is what I'm about to do. You guys have seen the movie Aliens, Aliens? And Lance Henriksen, who played Bishop, there was a scene where he had to get torn in half, and I was in charge of all of that stuff. So I didn't really know Lance at the time, and he was kind of an intense guy, and he wouldn't break character and all that. But I had to put him in a lot of different rigs, and one of the things he had to do was spit white android blood which was milk. And we were shooting in England, so they have all these great, they have these thick creams and all that. So I bought this whole bunch of stuff and had it in a igloo cooler with ice on it. And I thought, yeah, that'll do. And we shot so much of it, and Cameron shoots and shoots and shoots, and I was running out of the milk. So there's a tea trolley there because it's England, and that's what they do. They drink tea all the time, and I'm like, it's afternoon now or heading into evening, so I just go, I'm grabbing that bottle, and I grab a bottle and I give it to him, and we get through the day, and everything's fine. And the next day, Lance shows up, and he looks terrible, and I'm like, are you okay? Do you have the flu or something? He said, buddy, I was up all night puking. You gave me some spoiled milk. And I was like, oh, shit. So I had to make sure that my new supply, right? And I couldn't figure it out. I just thought I had screwed up, But Lance was such a great guy. I said to him, oh, I'm so sorry about this, And I was, very young, and I thought, this guy could get me fired. And he said, you know what? I'll use it. I'm going to use it. And he said, how do you think Bishop feels while he's getting torn in half? Do you think he feels good? And I was like, I don't know, but thank you for letting me keep my job.
All right, does anybody have a question yet? All right.
What is the most complicated prop or costume that you've ever had to work on?
What is the most complicated prop or costume that I've ever had to work on? That's tough because we've done some really complex stuff. I mean, we did a Queen Alien that was 20 feet tall and had 72 points of hydraulic movement and servo. But I will say that one of the most difficult shows that I worked on was Mortal Kombat in, I think, was that 93, 94? So Goro with, the 4 arms, that was a suit that was worn by Tom Woodruff Jr., and he was the lower arms and legs, and he put on this foam latex suit, and inside it was these mechanical arms and a mechanical torso and an articulated head that could lip sync and have facial expressions and dilating eye pupils and all that stuff. And it weighed about 150 pounds on him, and he had to wear it and do fight scenes, and then we got to set, and the sets were really cool, but one of the features where they had these like 2-foot deep pools of water at random places. Tom couldn't see anything. All he could look at was a little TV screen inside the suit. So I would have to direct him left, right, don't go too far, don't go, And then one of the times I actually made him step into a pool of water because I didn't phrase it right. What I should have said was, don't step to your right 1 step. And instead what I said, Tom, if you step to your right 1 step, and he did it. And we had to pull him out of the water before he fried all the electronics. Hopefully he was okay. You're not concerned about that at the moment.
The suit.
Yeah, it's the suit. Anyway, probably Goro was the most miserable and excruciating.
How many guys have you murdered? I know a bro, and I only known you for 10 minutes.
So, CJ Ramsey, what was it like when you had to come out of that burial area, and you had all that stuff on you, and you were coming back to life as Jason?
That was, interesting. There's, I did most of that. There's one scene that I did not do. Christopher Swift, my special effects guy on Real Effects, I was on principle doing a shot at the time. We'd already done my eye opening and stuff, but now they decided to do a real nice close-up. So Christopher, so sweet, volunteered, because he's got green eyes like me, to do his own makeup for the close-up. And they had a maggot wrangler where they drop and roll maggots on his eye and push him out with a Q-tip. Does it sound familiar? To get that shot. So I'll always give Christopher Swift, that's his name,
full credit for the maggots on the eye because he did it. God bless him. It's so nice sometimes to be a principal on another part of the unit shooting. So, but otherwise it was fantastic. That's one time I'll put my thumbs up and go, this is good, a principal. Gotta stand in for Jason.
What was your favorite weapon to use? I mean, obviously, the machete is everybody's number one, but you worked with a different one, you know, so which one did you actually have fun with?
Well, I was really fortunate because I got to wear a Batman utility belt. So I had darts, knives, machetes, so I had abundance of weapons. But I think the best weapon myself, to be quite honest, because my best kill that I like personally is breaking the sheriff's back in half. And if you think about that, the only weapon there is me. And you break and pop a body, no blood, no guts, just pure power. To me, that's a little nice. That's a little nice.
Anybody got a question out there? All right. I want to see how this is going to work out. You know, Jason doesn't really talk, but I really want to hear Jason's voice.
I don't know. He's gonna ask me a question. That was really funny. I wish I had a photo of that.
What was it like? How did you feel when you had to stand on top of the burning RV? Was that freaky, or what was that like?
What was it like standing on the burning
There's a scene right. I have to break through the door and stand on the RV and come to the end. Actually, it was pretty awesome. It was right at the end of the night. Sun's coming up. We got one more shot before the sun busts through and we're out of business for the night. So I had squatted down inside the motorhome after it flipped and just hit it with my fist and surprised the shit out of me. It flew. I stepped out without falling over myself because I had boxes for me to step out of. I just walked to the end, and as you indicated, you can't see anything, so there's no perception depth, nothing. And I just stepped out and stood there, which became a very iconic role for Jason as a character.
So, somebody told me a long time ago, something was very special about the RV, and I'm not sure what that was. Does either one of you guys know what was special about that RV?
It's indicated that RV is moving forward and back. And in the scene that I'm in, I literally nothing was moving. So it was just all my body language, hitting my head. And then they had little strings on all the little things that were hanging on the wall to show that it was moving. But it was like an I Love Lucy episode. It was really fun to film. But maybe that's what you're referring to. I don't know.
They were saying that, the RV actually belonged to somebody. You guys took pride in, seeing it go by. And I was like, what is all that about? But I don't know.
I don't know.
He asked if the RV, when somebody owned it or something special about the RV, and I'm not aware.
Yeah, I'm not aware. The only thing I know about it, there was only one. There were 6 cameras out there on the floor. It's a one take,
Right.
and it's over. And they destroyed one of the cameras during the take because it hit it. But other than that, I mean, it was one chance to flip it, one chance to land correctly, and one chance to make it look good on camera. It was over.
Didn't they have it like a lift or something? So
Yeah, I did go off a lift about an 18-inch ramp on one wheel, so it flipped it on its side.
Sorry, I hate to keep asking CJ questions, but how do you exude so many different emotions without saying a word and behind a mask? You're still able to let us know in a creepy kind of way what's going on in Jason's head.
So the question is how to exert different types of power, anger, frustration without saying a word. A lot of you would say it's easy. You're sitting up here all of a sudden, people jump when they hear noise or somebody goes, hey! All right, everybody waking up. When you play Jason, you can't do any of that. It's 110% body language, how fast you move your head or how slow you move your head. It really was directed by Tom McLaughlin. Plus, he would let me see it on the camera after I did it, so I could actually see my own motion. When I'm walking or how I would do something, I'd be able to get an idea. got it now, because when you only have one eyeball, you have peripheral vision that's completely gone. You cannot see your feet, as he indicated when you're walking, when they hit the ground. So having somebody direct your feet is kind of important now that you know that. But you have to be able to exhaust your energy. And as I said earlier, once you flip that switch, anybody who's put a mask on or a costume, have you ever noticed how you become that character so fast? And you stay in character until you take off your horn, off your mask, or you take your clothing back to a normal person.
We were doing a lighting check, and CJ was standing in front of the RV, and they said, Darcy, you stand next to CJ. So I went and stood next to him, and I'm tiny in comparison. And I looked up at him and I said, wow, you're really scary. And he didn't like flinch or do anything. He just moved his whole body towards me, which was even more frightening.
So, this is a question for every single one of you. What would be your dream part for you? What would be the dream thing that you would like to bring to life? If you had any cast in the world and you had whatever budget, what would you want to play?
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Good one, good one.
I'll be Jason.
Well, I'm not going to be a victim because I ain't playing that shit. But I might do some of the special effects. You know, I've had an opportunity to see some of the greatest and the best just because I'd go out to the fans and see what they'd like to see for the next kills in Jason, because I'm sure you've got some pretty great ideas.
As a creature artist, I'm very attracted to characters, to things that speak and have a mind. I love the relentless creature stuff. I've worked on lots of that, and I love it. But I would like to push animatronics further than it has been pushed. I feel like there was something that happened in the '80s where Jim Henson was going, and all that stuff was so beautiful. And then that was in England. And in the United States, you had things like E.T. and Yoda, and we were heading on a trajectory that got a little truncated when digital came along. So I want to, and now we're in a good position because a lot of directors are rediscovering the practical work because they grew up with it and it still looks great. And so now we're at a point where I think there's going to be coming down the pike, there's going to be some really interesting characters, but I really would love to bring back some of that Henson magic as well as the high-tech shit. Can I get an amen?
Amen. Yep. Any other questions? No? She has a question? She's shy? Oh, that's a good question. I love that question. See, that's a good one. Don't be shy. All right, so ladies, there are young actors out there that would love to get started in film, and they want to know any advice, from the ladies to the other ladies, how they go about getting started.
I mean, times have changed since I originally started in this business, which is I think in a good way, it empowers people to make their own content and be more creative from the writing and producing side of things from an early age. When I started, we had to kind of try to find someone to meet someone to get us in and get an agent and you're always waiting for someone else to hire you and to be a part of their projects and their ideas and their dreams. But nowadays, when you have YouTube and social media, and you have access to make things on your own and start to play by yourself. You don't need to wait for anybody to give you permission. So I think create your own things, write, find other people who are like-minded, just continue to make things and get it out there, and eventually you'll get better and better and people will take notice.
totally agree with you. And it's a challenging business to get into, but be creative, do your own thing, do what makes you happy, and if you're enjoying yourself, then you're ahead of the game.
Yes, sir.
I have an opinion just like an ass, everybody has one. Sometimes you just get lucky. Alright? I got lucky. Alright, I mean that straightforward. It wasn't my intent. I'd never been to stunt school, acting school, whatever. I'm just Joe Smo off the street and they set my ass on fire. So I got lucky. So luck can sometimes be the tool to get where you want to be. Don't forget that.
But the harder you work, sometimes the luckier you can get because you're putting yourself out there and you're more visible. Yeah, more opportunities.
Any other questions? All right.
My favorite part is when the kids happen, the chasing area, and they're person. That little girl's not right. That
Yeah. Should have brought her water.
when the chasing the little girl was like, area, the chasing moves on their body. When the girl started chasing the Bible, Chuck Rock, the chasing Bible from the African. Yeah, it was like it happened. I couldn't see them, and Jesus walking in, the Bible was still that little German.
Yes.
I guess when Jason went into a cabin and there was a little girl that was jumped onto Jason.
No, like, it was a man that came up, leaves, like a little girl. And the race black. And he asked me if she's back, God, took us on something, hey,
How did Jason scare the little girl while she was in bed? I don't remember the scene,
How
so
did
I'm not
Jason
really
scare
sure.
the little girl when she
Okay, in part 6, there is a young lady in bed, and Jason looks at her with curiosity. Remember, I told you he's connecting the dots, and realizes it's just a little girl, and what she does is close her eyes and start saying her prayers. And when she reopens her eyes, Jason is gone. So in her mind, she was praying to God, and when she opened her eyes, Jason was then gone. I will tell you a story that young lady's about 43 years old now, and last year she called Tom McLaughlin, the writer-director of Part 6. She has a 6-year-old son that wanted a hockey mask, and he didn't want a little hockey mask, he wanted a real nice one, so she called Tom McLaughlin, who then called me and got one to autograph, sent it to Tom, Tom signed it, then sent it to that young lady who's 43 years old now for her son. So, true story.
All right. Well, everybody give them a round of applause. And look, all these great people right here are going to be over there signing autographs. If you got more questions that you're too shy to ask them over there. All right.